Well, good afternoon to you. Thanks for clicking on to this afternoon, the Sunday afternoon edition of VOGAN'S Views on Europe. And we have got high pressure building back into Ireland and the UK and western parts of mainland Europe, providing very, very pleasant conditions. We've got beautiful sunny skies here in Lennoxtown this afternoon, albeit a pretty chilly wind blowing. If you notice here, it's a surface high pressure that we've got building in from the south and the west, and of course that's allowing more in the way of sunshine, eroding some of the cloud cover that we've seen over recent days, providing beautiful conditions for sure. But if you notice here in the upper level pattern of the European, we have got that northwest flow remaining. You notice the isobars coming down from the North Atlantic and Greenland. And of course, although we've got a slightly milder air than we have got up by Iceland and Greenland, that flow is blowing down, and of course it's keeping the temperatures at bay right around 5 or 6 degrees here across Scotland, and slightly milder, maybe 8 or 9 across the south of England today. But certainly with that northwest wind, it will feel quite chilly indeed. We have seen, of course, very chilly conditions all week across eastern parts of Europe up into Scandinavia. And if you notice, actually off I don't actually have it at hand, but I've got published today. There was an article off weatherbell.com from yesterday showing the snow cover across the northern hemisphere now back above normal. That, of course, is a key signature as well to a colder pattern that we've seen over the past week to 10 days compared to what we've seen during the first half of the winter. But certainly we are building the snowpack across Eastern Europe. That is going to allow less weakening of Arctic high pressure and colder as it sweeps south. There was an article off the meteogroup.com that showed temperatures across the mountainous north of Greece down to minus 25 Celsius early in the week. So indications are all there, folks, despite the fact that we don't have winter here in the UK, Ireland and western parts of Europe. But certainly over the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to be seeing the continuation of the cold over eastern parts of the continent, plenty of snow cover, like I say. By Monday, we've got plenty of pleasant conditions across, basically across the UK and Ireland. You notice here the flow, a colder flow almost showing up out of the northwest, but high pressure at the surface is building in, folks, and that will allow yet another day tomorrow across the UK and Ireland. Widely sunny skies, but of course it will remain fairly cool indeed. By Tuesday, we have got, of course, milder conditions trying to surge up. There is a system, an upper level system and a surface feature that will basically progress well to the north of the UK. It will actually be closer to Iceland than it will be us. But what's going to happen is we're going to see a frontal system that's basically a line like this will slowly sweep late Tuesday into Wednesday across the UK, and as it does so, we'll see winds increase, and of course we'll see more in the way of rainfall and cloud cover. But there's a couple of interesting features to this next system that has caught my attention and I think is worth pointing out. Let's have a quick look at Wednesday, the upper level flow. You notice here, system well to the north of the UK, like I say, but there is a frontal system attached to this low that will sweep across the UK and Ireland slowly. The issue that I think we have with this feature, albeit we'll see, of course, like we've recently seen, heaviest of the rainfall and strongest of the winds across the northern half of the UK. In fact, I say that all of the UK and Ireland has seen very windy conditions, so I take that back. But certainly the heaviest of the moisture will be associated with more northern areas as opposed to the south. But if you notice here, folks, for the Wednesday upper level chart, you notice here the trough, but you've got basically the front associated with this area low pressure is going to be right along this line here, this periphery between the yellow and pale colours and the green. That is where your front will be. Now, what's significant about that, you ask? Well, you've got a flow that's coming from a much warmer region. This is the Azores Islands right here, folks. Warmer temperatures in the water and, of course, warmer air naturally over that water. The problem is, as that front now, the tail of the front is way down here, the flow associated with these areas of frontal boundaries tend to blow along that frontal zone. What will happen is you'll have a southwesterly flow from here, from this warmer region, will blow along the frontal zone, and the problem is it's going to point into the northwest corner of Scotland. That, folks, of course, is a very mountainous region, and you tend to find if you've got a moist flow piling up against those mountains, you've got those winds that start to blow up and over the mountains. As they progress upwards in elevation, in fact cools, condenses and wrings out more moisture than the atmosphere originally had. And the problem is you've got a very warm region here, you've got more moisture available, and you have got a flow uninterrupted from here all the way up into the northwest of Scotland. That, folks, was the same type of setup we've seen, only slightly further south, pointing into the mountains of Cumbria. We've seen a dramatic flood situation back in November of 2009, if you remember, reached not only national headlines but global headlines. The good thing about this scenario is, albeit it's a very similar one, this, folks, is not autumn time, and the Atlantic is a lot cooler than it was back in the November period. Had this been the case a couple of months ago, it would have been a more dangerous situation, I think. But certainly 100 millimeters expected by the BBC this morning is perhaps conservative in terms of how much moisture is going to happen. Now, as we progress Wednesday into Thursday, you notice here, folks, that if this is going to change for me, you notice here that the front starts to push through, and on the back side of that, introducing much colder air. You notice here the temperatures in the southeast corner of the UK starting to warm up ahead of that front as it pushes and transports that warmer air from the southwest. Notice by Friday, the front now and that rain band going to be pushing into the low countries of Europe, and on the back side of that, winds rather than the southwest will come more out of the northwest, introducing colder air for the late part of the week, and I'll talk more about that in my long range discussion. So a few interesting things to point out to you. Hope you have a great afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine while it lasts, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye for now.